Gavin here. So I hear a lot of people say that investing in property is dangerous, it's risky, and I just want to give you my 2 cents on that. If you look at the TV shows like Can't Pay Will Take It Away and other such bailiff type TV shows, it'll show that people stop paying their rent, and when they default on the rent, the people that are letting them out are suffering because they've taken on this property, or maybe they've not taken it on, but they've got this property renting out and they're relying upon it as their pension, as their only source of income. Now these people might have got one property thinking that, oh, I could rent it out and make a little bit of money on it and that's my pension sorted. Or they might have taken it on accidentally. So you get quite a lot of accidental landlords. So things like a family member's died, for example, they've been passed on this property, so they've got this house all of a sudden and they're renting it out. They might be doing it through an agent, they might be doing it on themselves, but what I'm getting at here is they have one, they're not too clued up. So what does this mean? If you've only got one property making some rent, then that means your source of income comes from one source, doesn't it? So the minute that that tenant decides to stop paying your rent, or the minute that boiler breaks down, for example, that's a huge amount of money that's going to cost you. Because I had a boiler problem quite recently, and to call out the boiling engineer, that was like 200 odd quid for like a diagnostic, for the call out and the diagnostic. Now for some people that would wipe out their entire rent. Say you're getting 400 or 500, even less if there's a mortgage on it, and you take away 1 month's rent. What if that is all he's got to live on, is that 1 month's rent? So this is where people think, oh, it's very risky, the boiler can break down. Oh, it's risky, somebody might not pay. Totally plausible, could happen. You never know when it's going to happen, but it could happen. So how can we make this a little less risky? Well, if one boiler breaks down, that's one set of problems. If one tenant stops paying rent, that's another one lot of rent missing. But if we take 2, 3, 4 properties, so if I've got 2 and one doesn't pay, the other one covers it pretty much, so you're even. Take some more and that one you're barely going to notice, that one mortgage, that one boiler, you're not going to notice that because the other ones more than cover it. It's basically about putting all your eggs in one basket. If you've only got one egg and you break it, that's, well, 100% of your eggs gone. But if you've got a basket full of eggs, you might have some survivors. So spread your bets, get more, don't rely on the one source of income, because that's when that one goes down, you'll have a problem. And then there's all the due diligence and checks that you do beforehand. So before you buy property, have a good look at the boiler, have a look at the pipework, the seals in the windows, things like that. Is it going to cause you an issue? Is it a new boiler? Has it been serviced? When's the last time it's been serviced? Does it look in good standard? I normally look around the boiler and around the sinks and look at the pipework. How aged does it look? Or is there anything trying to cover up? I do is to look at the windows, look at the window seals. Are they dried and rotting up? If it's a wooden window, certainly it's rotting. So little things like this, you can make some contingency plans or make some arrangements, but it is the due diligence. Check as much as you can so you don't fall into these problems. Luckily, when I had that boiler issue, the fix was I went down to my local builders merchants, I bought a multimeter, and all I needed to fix it was the thermostat. So I got an electric thermostat because it's an electric boiler, but for the grand total of £30. It says, I believe this is the thermostat that's causing the problem. If I call you out, it's going to charge me the call out plus any parts and labour, etc, etc. Or I just go online and buy this thermostat for 30 quid and hopefully that works. And guess what? It did. I took the dive, got a multimeter, tested different elements, kind of whittled it down to the multimeter, and then I put the multimeter in and it works now. So £30 fix plus the multimeter, easy. So yeah, it cost me for that diagnostics to start with, which I obviously can't get back, and if I was to look at it in terms of rent, it would be a significant portion of my rent, especially if there was one, but I'm pretty happy that it's not cost me like the full month, although for some bigger problems it might well do. This is where having another flat would mean that I am still able to pay my mortgage. And anyway, you shouldn't be living right up to the edge every single month. That should be there as a backup, just building up in the background, so that there's always a rainy day fund. You should be looking to build up funds and have a good cash flow. Some people focus on just the capital at the end, but I like to have it so the money coming in every month is quite high. Not because I'm greedy, but because there needs to be a pot there in order to fix these damages and fix these problems or cover the mortgage for empty periods. You need to have this sinking fund, this emergency fund to cover it. That's how you stay safe. So you should always have this emergency pot to work from. Other than that, problems that arise, is it 100% of each month's mortgage or 100% of each month's rent, or are you able to have that lesser so that when something happens, if I've got 3-4 properties, one boiler is going to cost me 10% of my month's income. You're not even going to notice it. So yep, that's my 2 cents on property is risky. Just to sum it up, if you've got more, it's less risk actually. Yeah, you're dealing with more tenants, yes, you might be dealing with more mortgages, financing, etc. But they all cover each other. So essentially, the more you have, the less risky it is. And to be fair, you learn more and you get better. And yeah, you have the support around you. So if you're worried about getting into property, don't be, because there is nothing, there's plenty of courses out there, there's plenty of podcasts, many videos online. You're looking at one now. Many people have been through this before you have. So you've got a lot of knowledge to learn from. You're not the only one. this was a benefit to you, and please subscribe. You might learn a bit more. Thank you.